All right, welcome to this video. My name is Taylor Benchrood, and we're going to be going over the top 5 agency automations. Now, keep in mind as we go through this, my agency is a little bit different than yours, but it's going to be extremely important if you want to increase your margins to that 50 to 70% mark, and you really want to take your profit level to a whole new world. Typically, agency margins will be around literally 20 to 30%, even 35%, but very few agencies are averaging 50 to 70. So, a few things that you need to automate if you want to get into that mark. Number one is going to be the audit. Now, auditing can be extremely time consuming. It's very repetitive. You do the same thing over and over, and therefore it should be the first thing that you automate because it's actually usually pretty easy to automate as well. It might require a little bit of math if you're in the advertising world like our agency is, to where we're just dealing with tons of numbers, thousands and thousands of keywords because we do pay-per-click advertising. And then the second thing is going to be reporting. So sending reports to clients, keeping them up to date on what is going on, etc. Again, keep in mind this might be different for you if you're running like a project-based agency where you're developing websites, or you're doing photography or something where it's like a one-time instead of a recurring retainer. But nonetheless, you're still going to need to automate your audit. There's still going to be some things that are going to apply to you if you're doing project-based work. The third thing is going to be keyword research. This is, again, more specific to our agency because we're doing pay-per-click advertising. One of the most time-consuming and repetitive things we do is keyword research, finding new keywords that we can run ads to for our clients' products. And we have automated it, not fully, but partially to the point where an account executive will have to go in and spend probably 1/10 the amount of time that it took manually before we built a software automation for it. And then launching campaigns, also very important. It's very tedious to go into the Amazon advertising platform and manually be launching campaigns. There are things like bulk uploads and different things, but again, a software is going to be 100 times better because it's just way faster. And there's a lot of other features you can build into it. The fifth and most final thing is managing campaigns. This was the most difficult thing that we had to figure out in our agency, because when you're running thousands of campaigns across a variety of different client accounts, it's definitely one of the most time-consuming things to make sure all the campaigns are performing at profitable levels, or at least levels that the client wants the profitability to be at, or just the return on ad spend. So that was an extremely hard thing to do. It took time, but we were still able to do it with basically building software. So all of these things can be automated. How you're going to automate it is going to be different for you depending on the service that you're providing and how good your service is. I can't necessarily create a YouTube video talking to you about how to automate these things because for every agency it's going to be very different. The purpose of this video was just to simply tell you, hey, these are the best 5 things that we ever automated in our agency and has had the most influential impact on increasing our margin. So that's what I wanted to share with you. The last thing is that all of those things can be automated by who, you're probably wondering. Well, this is going to be an automation specialist, and this is what I call them. You could also call them developers. You could also call them web scrapers. You could call them, I forget the other name of I'm forgetting the third name, but there's lots of different names you call them. I like to call them automation specialists, and they are literally offshore, $5 an hour, and they're phenomenal. I'm telling you, every single one of the automations we built has been built for $5 an hour, and it's very rapidly. Like, it's not like it took months to build a software that automates the audit. It literally took 2 days. It took like a week to build an automation that could manage thousands of campaigns and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of keywords across all the client accounts. It took, again, another week to build an automation to help launch campaigns. This one probably took like 2 or 3 days. Just to get like a 1.0 version built can be done very quickly in a matter of 48 to 72 hours, depending on the complexity of the process or the SOP that you're trying to automate. Now, but with that being said, I've hired developers on like TopTal for $100 an hour. If you're familiar with TopTal, they vet all of their developers so that they get the top 1% or 2% of developers in the world, because 98% of the developers that try to get into their platform don't pass the test that they have to make sure that they vet all the developers. That developer for $100 an hour was insanely slow, extremely expensive, and yes, the code is going to be better, but like if you really want to maintain high margins and you're in the early stages of doing like between $0 to $100,000 per month in your agency, I just recommend going straight for this person to build a rough draft of the automation to make it viable. Again, because like you don't want to dive in and pay someone $100 an hour to make a software that you don't even really know how much it's going to help. You don't know the complexities of it. You don't know how long it's going to take, etc. There's so many intricate things that you don't really know going into it, because if you're not familiar with building software, there's 10 million things that can go wrong, especially when you're working with a developer that's brilliant. But when you're working with the automation specialist offshore, they just build this stuff rapidly. Like, they're all about speed and basically just reaching minimum viable product, getting it functioning, and then improving it from there. And that's typically the approach that we've taken with automating these 5 things. So with that being said, I hope this was helpful. I know it was pretty high level, and I didn't say specifically this is where you can find the person, this is what you can, how you can whatever look for them, or this is how you can automate it. But I wanted to just make you aware of the top 5 things that had the most influential impact on automating my agency personally. So I hope you found some value in it. If you want to learn more about how I help agency owners, feel free to check in the show notes below, and make sure to subscribe. I post a video once a week. Usually they're a bit longer and a bit more in depth. But feel free to subscribe, comment below, let me know your thoughts, and thanks for watching. Ciao.